Hey everyone, it's Leanne with Paper Heart Scissors, and I have the Simon Says Stamp June card kit cards here. And I really love this stamp set. I love the flowers. I love the beautiful script sentiment that I'm sure is Christina Warner's handiwork. And I wanted to do some negative space stamping. So I took some Post-it tape, and that is some Nina White Solar White 110-pound cardstock. And I'm going to stamp some of the flowers on some Post-it tape there, and then I'm going to cut them out and make a mask to put on the background, and then we're going to do some really strong ink blending. And then we are going to pull the masks off and see the magic that will be of this negative space. So you can see that I've got all of those pieces there, and I just start cutting them out. I'm just using my, I think those are EK Success, those little honeybee scissors. And so I got everything cut out, and I stuck it down on the card in the placement. I'm looking to make sure that I have enough area for that sentiment to fit, and I just put the stamp there on the top so I can see it in the black. And then I'm going to actually put the last of the mask kind of around it and position that. And I realized, oh, I have to put this on exactly like the stamp or it won't work. When I did this, I realized that actually if I had done this in the MISTI, I could have lined it up perfectly with the stamps and with the masks simply by leaving the stamps there, but I didn't. You could also do this backwards, and you could stamp it with the MISTI and then stamp the masks and place them on top. But I really wanted a little extra white edges and this to feel like there was some organic space around it. So I did it this way, and if you don't have a MISTI, then you know the more organic and regular way to do this. You don't have to have that in order to make these cards. So once I placed my little Post-it tape masks down, I just started using a little mini ink blender, and that is the Island Blue ink, that Simon Says Stamp Island Blue, and it matches the blue paper. I wanted these cards to be somewhat tonal, meaning that they all really matched. They stayed in like a color family, and they really were all one color. So here I'm using the Scuba just to kind of give it some depth, and I really kept going with this inking. I wanted it to be really smooth and rather dark and pop, and I could have cut the other side of that card off, but I actually ended up using it later. And so I'm just going to keep inking, and you'll see my hands start to get lighter as I keep going because I kept blending more and more, so the ink got very saturated and very wet. So after it dried a few minutes, I pulled off the mask, and you can see how white and gorgeous those shapes are. And I love this part. It just never ceases to, it's the most fun. It's like doing Easter eggs or anything else when you mask something, is seeing how it looks underneath all the layers. So I took all of these off, and then you're going to see me start to take the stamps, and I'm going to arrange them on the, I'm going to put them kind of down. I put them down on the surface first to make sure I had the place right, and then just put the block on top of them. And again, you could do this in the MISTI and it would be really perfect, but I wasn't so worried about that. I wanted them to be kind of fun, and I was going to add more layers, so I knew that they were going to feel more three-dimensional if they weren't so perfectly aligned. And so you can see I'm just letting the ink kind of go in the spaces, but also outside. And if you have a spot, you don't have a MISTI and you can't re-ink, because I'm terrible looking over the stamp, it never works for me. You can also take a gel pen, and you can literally, you could color in part of anything that wasn't a perfect impression when you first made it. So I took a bunch of the other little pieces in this set. There's those little dots, which are really cute. There's other little flowers, and I'm just adding to the background. There's some really sweet little hearts. And then you can see that I have this beautiful inked top card front. And I'm going to put that aside for a minute and clean my work surface. I trimmed the top off there. And then I started on a yellow and orange version as well. And I just used 2 colors of ink for this. I used the Ranger Buttered Popcorn and the new Hero Arts Tangerine Hybrid ink. And you can see that these also just blended gorgeously. One is a little more yellow than the other. And I think I actually went back in on the card on the left and added even some more orange because there was a little bit of spottiness. But then I took the Tangerine Hybrid ink and typed, went into the shapes and stamped them in orange over that. And did much the same thing that I did with the blue, which was to add all the different background elements and that before I actually went to do the embossing. So this is sort of important because that sentiment is really large, and I wanted to make sure I have to protect my other piece because it's still taped down there. I don't want to stamp something. I'm kind of repositioning. Again, if you did this in the MISTI, you wouldn't have to do that. It would be in the perfect spot, but it's not. So I'm going to re-ink that because I touched it and moved it around, and there we go. And anyway, so what I was saying before was that you could, you wanted to make sure that you do the stamping on your background with the layering of all the inks before you emboss the sentiment, because the sentiment is rather large and you want to make sure that you can cover part of your stamped background. You don't want to try to stamp on top of where you put your sentiment. The other thing is that after doing this ink blending, these are very wet. So do not try to emboss them. I even heat set them, and I needed more time before I put the embossing powder on. So I trimmed them out with a little stitched rectangle, and I put a little piece of Heidi Swapp glitter tape there to break up the line, and then I am using the new Wow embossing ink, that new sticky ink, and some Hero Arts white embossing powder, and you get a really clean, beautiful set of powder with that stamp. Is gorgeous. I did use a powder bag to kind of prepare it. I'm waiting till it gets very hot, and I normally go away and do this, but today I'm letting you see me actually emboss it. I work pretty fast. I usually do it a little bit on the back so that I don't have any warping, and it is just gorgeous. That I will say that the Hero Arts white embossing powder is probably my favorite. It seems to be the most opaque, and it also seems to be the smoothest. So that's all good. I'm using that Lawn Fawn chamois there, and I have to say that it is a miracle as well. I know that those things exist for the cars and you can get them at the car place, but if you can get a chamois and use it in your stamper, and it really cleans the stamps well as being great for the environment because you're not using baby wipes all the time. So try that out. I am cutting some colored fun foam to go on the back of my panels to adhere them there, and obviously you can use foam tape. You don't have to use colored fun foam. I happen to have a whole stack of it, although looks like I was out of orange, so I'm adding a piece of foam tape to the bottom and then matching them up to their cards, and they're really sitting flat and beautiful. You can see that I wrapped the glitter tape around the back of the panel so that it was really nice and clean, and went around the edge. And I just cut that in half in my trimmer. So it's not every piece is perfect. I actually ended up with 2 that were a similar width and one that was much thinner. It was some of the glitter tape that goes over the marquee letters. So I just used something from my stash, and even you know, you could use a coordinating blue or a piece of blue paper, or you could make a strip of the island blue or the yellow or the orange to just go below there. But I thought it was nice to kind of divide that 2/3, 1/3 proportion again. And I'm going to use some of those little doodlebug dots. Now this is my new tape gun, and I have to tell you, I love this thing because none of the other ones work on foam on the back. And so I've been gluing foam, and this one actually does work. And it is pretty fabulous, and it has refills. It's not hard to load like the ATG. I'm sorry, ATG, but I can't get the hang of that thing. It's too hard for me to use. This one snaps right in. You can roll the tape either way, which is really cool. So you can go forward or backwards. You just switch sides. And I don't know, I'll love it. I'll put it in the supplies below because it is really nice tape gun, and not as expensive as the ATG either. You get a lot of tape mileage out of the refills in that. So I'm going to put a couple of those little doodlebug sprinkles on the bottom, and then I'm going to also put one up on the card in the center of a couple of the flowers. I just thought that was just a little finishing touch. We've got three, not the rule of threes, right, or odd numbers. And I like the way that it's simple finishing. You could bling it up some more with some more sequins if you wanted, but I felt like this was, there was so much detail that it wasn't really necessary, but I do love the sprinkles in the center of the flower, and just as another little tonal color accent that says that it's part of the set. There's red in there too, and I could have done a red and pink card as well, but I just stuck with these three. So those are the three cards for today, and I hope you were inspired and love the idea of doing some negative stamping with whatever supplies are in your stash. You can visit me over on my blog or on Instagram, and I hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.